I really respected. Fortunately, I respect my elders, otherwise nothing would happen. You know, out of respect for him, I followed his advice and applied for Berklee, but purposely too late to get in, too late to apply for a scholarship. And he like harassed me into calling back, so I called back. I was like, listen, I missed the deadline. Can I audition? Like, I know you'll say no, but like I said, yeah. He said, just drive up to Seattle, which is like a 3-4 hour drive, and we'll put you in. Wow. And I went up there and I auditioned, and the two guys that auditioned me told me right there, like, we'll give you a scholarship if you want to come. I was like, okay. Then everything changed. Like, and now I play with one of the guys that auditioned me. Like, all the time I'm in band.
I mean, but also you are an instructor there now. Yeah. I mean, how does that work? In that you're I mean, I can't imagine that people who are coming through there are an awful lot younger than you.
No.
So I mean, how do you sort of say, do you see them as an equal, and you sort of say, well, I'm just going to sort of try and steer you a little bit in the right direction?
Yeah, kind of.
Do you get tough on them if they're not practicing enough? Or?
Yeah, I do. I actually can be kind of a jerk sometimes, but I think it's good because this is like a problem in the United States that adult parents now don't really raise their kids to be adults.
Yeah, they're not strict with them. They spoil them too much.
It's even that, but it's like there's a difference between being strict and not being strict and preparing your children to like be like self-sufficient, self-reliant human beings.
Yeah.
And that's very rare. So what I find a lot is that these kids come in and have been playing for years, like a decade, and they're my age, and they come in and they're like, well, like I didn't really practice because I was kind of like up late, and like blah blah blah. And the only edge that I have, because we're the same age, I just graduated, is that I'm doing more than them. And it's not, some of it's luck because I'm a girl and I know I have a little novelty edge. Which isn't, it just is. That's the media. It's okay. But the other thing is, if they hear me play and if there's anything I can do that I can't do, they start to question, okay, so it's not time and it's not practice, it's probably the approach. And that really is the only edge that I have over those guys, because nothing can compete with 10 years. Plus I try to create the mentor and student thing, or mentor and pupil, because it doesn't really happen anymore. It's like you just sit in this class, person doesn't really care or know what you're doing or what you want to do. And I mean, at least we get to spend like 4 or 5 months together. And one of the saddest things about jazz education right now is there's not that feeling of a mentor. That's key.
I know.
It's key. You have to have it. I mean, you have to have it. Now when I'm practicing bass, I'm always trying to sing something. So, which is a trip, because then I end up singing like for hours, which is different. Like most singers, I don't think when they practice, because I don't think about practicing voice ever, and I should. Like you hear my voice kind of raspy now. I don't know how to sing. But like if I'm just playing scales, practicing scales over chord changes, I either try to sing the same scale or sing it like from the third above, or sing it going the other direction, or like something. So they're always connected, because I want to be like as free as a horn player. You know? I don't think I'll ever sing like Freddie Hubbard plays trumpet, but just listen to that freedom when he's soloing and when he's playing the melodies. It's like anywhere he wants to go, he can go at any time. He's like the best handling race car in the world, you know? And that's kind of like my goal with the voice, whether it's with lyrics or just with melodies. So, and on the bass too, I mean, who wouldn't want that? So when I practice, it's always like for freedom, clarity, and just like unity and like being able to separate them. But it's like, I just think of it kind of the same as I think of like practicing an instrument, like if I were a horn player or something, I guess. And it's fun, like it's much easier than practicing bass. So I don't mind, you know.
Firstly, how did the sort of opportunity come about to do the album? I mean, was it a sort of...
it's kind of complicated. But it's good. I mean, I'm really glad that this happened. I'll try to make it short. It's a really cool story. So I met Pablo, the guy who runs Ava Records, while I was playing a concert with Juan Ortiz, who's playing piano here. And at the concert, he said, "Oh, Esperanza, like really like how you play. Give me your demos, like the music, offer to direct you." Cool. So I got my band together. Great. Then shortly thereafter, I met Bill Cosby.
Oh, wow.
And Bill Cosby took a shine to me and kind of took me under his wing. We were hanging, talking, blah, blah. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to take your demos and shop them around to all these record labels." And I hadn't really decided to make a record with Ava yet. So I was kind of like in flux, like, I'm not sure what I want to do. And then it just kind of occurred to me, you know, nothing's promised. I know Pablo Nardwan much better than I know Bill Cosby. Anything can happen.
Of course.
This guy is like a cool, small label that's gonna like let me do whatever I want to do. I'm young. I need a lot of room to like grow and do like all the stupid projects and all the great projects, and still have room to go. And people won't think like, oh, Blue Note Esperanza. If that were an option, you know, Blue Note Esperanza. Oh, I heard that record she did when she came out, and she was on every like wall everywhere, and they promoted her, and okay, it was okay, but now it's 5 years later, and we're not interested anymore. So it was kind of like that, and this band was great, and the sound at the moment fit them. You know, I had other compositions prepared, and we went into the first rehearsal, and we played them. I was like, wow, that doesn't work. And then we just played a tune, and I was like, wow, that works. So I made a whole new repertoire with those guys, just like totally free, like very like traditional jazz-oriented, like spontaneous with the solos and everything. And so I'm just glad it's here. So I used to like learn a lot of melodies, and I used to like transcribe horn solos and try and write. Like I used to use the bass to write melodies, you know, because I could easier write it on paper than if you're just singing. And like now it's like I'm trying to add the theory on top of what I already know, and it's hard because it's not instinctual. The way my melodies are, I mean, the way that I think of melody, like it doesn't match the way that a lot of jazz theory ends up making your melodies. And like I don't know, I always talk about Joe, it's kind of embarrassing, but he's like a monster.
I'm a big fan.
He's like, I mean, he has a huge influence in like the way I think about music, you know? And whenever I talk to him about like the theory stuff, plus I teach and I want to know like advice from a great teacher too. I knew him first as a student. And he always tells me, Esperanza, like, you don't have to worry. If you want to practice that stuff, practice it. But you know, you're on the stage because I trust you, not because I think you should go practice scales. You know? And like, you know, just follow the lines. You know, and I can tell when he likes something that I'm doing, and it's usually when I'm most in control of how things resolve. And because if you hear how it resolves, you can think about what should come next. You know, and it's really just like you can refine your sound. Because if you record yourself, you start to hear what your sound is, and you hear how you want to refine it. And I think that's much more important than like learning the scales and the harmony. Now we see it as like this refined art, and it's jazz, and it's like very official, and there's books and people make instructional videos. But that's not what jazz was. That's not how it came. It was like a bunch of angry people who were like, man, we have an art form, we have a skill, and we're gonna express this shit no matter what, and this is how we're gonna do it. And if you don't like it, too bad. And people loved it because it was real. And people used to go to concerts and dance and scream like they do for rock stars and hip hop stars now. And when Miles Davis went to Europe and packed a 15,000 seat auditorium, people were screaming. And he'd turn his back to the audience and play. And it's not that he was rude, it's like that was his character. That's what he had to express and give to his audiences. And like the thing that frustrates me most in jazz is that it's getting so stale and stuffy. And it's like people who need music that's like direct and real and sincere aren't hearing jazz. They're listening to hip hop, and a lot of what they hear is, I mean, it's BS.
Negative.
It's not real. It's not.
It's manufactured.
Like, it's manufactured, and that's not to discredit those people's real experiences at all. Because I grew up I heard gunshots every night too. I slept in the bathtub too. Everybody does if you come from a poor neighborhood. So let's say what's going to happen next. What are you going to do now so that the next generation doesn't think that's what they have to do? And I think, my music isn't hip hop, and some of the lyrics are conscious and some of them aren't. But you know, if you're aware that you want to pass something positive on to your audience and you want to present it in a way that they'll be engaged, that's important too.